Welcome back. As always, we usually start with the objective of this particular unit. I might not be able to finish the topic, but where we will stop, that is where we will continue next week. So by the end of this topic, as a student, you must be able to define the term survey research. Number two, you must appreciate the importance of survey research. And number three, you must understand how to conduct a survey research. Those are the only objective of this particular unit. Also, we are going to learn about the advantages and disadvantages of survey research and how they are conducted and why the advantages and disadvantages of survey research, how they are conducted, and why they are conducted that way. So that is what you're going to do. So I will only take like 20 minutes because I can see it is 1:35 p.m. So by 2 we must be able to finish this, but I mean we must be able to conclude in a good way. But where we will stop, because we just come from another topic, we will proceed from there next week. So I'll only look at the introduction part of it. I'm only taking 10 minutes only. Then we continue from there. So let's look at survey research. So when you talk about a survey research, or maybe we can say survey research, there are noticeable similarities in various definitions. It has been defined by various what we call scholars. Scholars are people like me and you. Scholar is anybody who is into academics. Scholar is a researcher, and scholar is an academician, or philosophers, and so on and so forth. All these people they contribute greatly to education, and therefore we have so many people who have contributed to defining what survey is. For example, according to somebody by the name Badger, this is 2008. According to somebody by the name Badger 2008, let me put his name there. But if you have time, you can look at him, or you can look at what he has done. Badger 2008, page 187. This is what he says about a survey research. He's saying that surveying is a research method. Surveying is a research method researchers use to get information about certain group of people. Surveying is a research method researchers use to get information about certain groups of people who are representative of some larger group of people of interest to them. It is a research method researchers use to get information about certain group of people who are representative of some larger groups of people of interest to them. Remember, we have just done what we call a probability or sampling techniques, and we have said that sampling techniques can be divided into non-probability or probability sampling techniques. And when we use samples, we use them to represent the total population or the whole population. Now look at what we are defining, how we are defining surveying. That surveying is a method that researchers use to get information about certain people. That information that you get from certain people is usually used to do what? Is used to generalize what? Whatever actually you are investigating about. So according to Badger, surveying is a research method researchers use to get information about certain people who are representative of a larger group of people. Representative means that they are samples of a larger group of people is the total population, representative of the total population. So who are the samples of the population? Another researcher here says that survey involves drawing up a set of questions. It involves coming up with a set of questions on various subjects or on various aspects of a subject to which selected members of a population are required to react. You see, now we are talking about selected members of a population, meaning the selected members of the population, from what we have learned from a population and sample, is that the selected members of the population is the sample. So the sample is supposed to react, and the reaction that the sample produces, or that reaction shows the reaction that the whole population would have. It shows, I mean, that particular reaction would have been the same as that of the total population. So according to another researcher by the name Weissman and Aaron, I think this is a very old book. A very old book. It's a 1970 book. We need to revise this particular thing. So according to this person called Weissman and Aaron, they are saying that survey research is a method of collecting. So you collect. So there is that part of collecting and analyzing social data. Social data is data that you get from people through interviews via a highly structured and often detailed interviews. So social data, as I said, is the data that you get from people through interviews, through observation, and so on and so forth. So this data, the social data, is highly structured and is often detailed. It's often very detailed interview. I mean, you get it from very detailed interview or questionnaires. So in order to obtain information from large number of respondents. So it's actually saying that survey research is a method for collecting and analyzing social data through highly structured and often very detailed interviews or questionnaires in order to obtain information from large numbers of respondents presumed to be representative of a specific population. So in short, when you look at all those definitions, there are things that are common. There is representative of the total population. There is the collection of data from a set of individuals to represent a larger number of people. Those are the terms that are common in all those definitions that we have looked at. Now, what are the purposes of survey research? You're supposed to realize that the survey research is usually used to look at a larger population, to investigate a larger population. And in a survey research, we usually look at, let's say, for example, one common answer to maybe one or two common problems. For example, last year, I think, last year we had a, is it a survey? We had what we call, what do you call it? We had these people who are coming to our houses to ask us questions whether we have radio or something. That particular thing that the government, the counting of people, the counting of people or citizens, the name is disappearing. That one is a sort of, census. Good, thank you. Yeah, we had census. And when you talk about census is a sort of a survey research, whereby people are asked like one general question: do you own a television? And when you look at that particular statement is given to a very large population, it can be even be a whole nation. Do you own a television? Then you either say no, yes, no. They can even ask you, do you have a car? You see, the question as far as survey research are concerned, they are very open. They are those kind of questions that when you are asked, you only give a very brief answer, either yes or no, or a very brief answer. You're not given that chance to write or to explain a lot of details. Remember, in census, when these people came, I don't think that anybody was given that particular questionnaire to fill. Nobody was given. Personally, I was not given a questionnaire to fill because it is a census. That is a survey that was being done by the government. A survey to actually tell us how many people we have in this nation. So the survey research is interested in accurate assessment of characteristics of the whole population of people. So they need what we call accurate assessment. That's why they came to your homes to get accurate results from the horse's mouth. So when you talk about survey research, it rarely studies an entire population. It rarely studies the whole population, but in other cases, you come to realize that sample drawn from the population, I mean, it looks at also the sample drawn from the population. In most instances, it rarely studies the entire population, but a sample drawn from the population. Look at the definition that we have given. We have given definition, and we are looking at, let's say all the definitions are looking at a certain group of people being studied to represent a larger group of people. But when you look at the census questions, those are survey-like questions that were being asked. Then from the sample, the researcher infers. To infer is to do what? To infer is to deduce. Is to deduce. To infer is to deduce. So from the whatever we call from the researchers from the sample, the researcher infers the characteristics of the defined population. So when we look at the sample, we can actually tell the characteristics of the whole or the total population from the sample of whatever we have. So there are various questions that are asked during what we call survey research. And some of the questions that are usually asked are what I'm projecting there. These are the type of survey questions that are usually asked. What do people know? That's one question. Another question is, what do people think? What do people own? What do people do? What have people done? What are people planning to do? What are people's attitude, maybe towards a certain program, maybe towards a certain product, maybe about COVID-19? What are people's tastes? What do people like? What are people's beliefs? What are people's beliefs and what are people's values? Now, these are examples of what we call survey questions. Yes, examples of survey questions. So when we come back, I want to stop at that point. When we come back, we are going to look at advantages and disadvantages of research, of advantages and disadvantages of survey research. Unless you have a question, I'll stop at that point because I have another class immediately, so I need to prepare. Is there any question? If there's a question, yes. Deborah, is there any question?
No, I'm just asking about the notes.
About what? The notes. The notes, I'm actually opening them right now as we speak. As we speak, I am opening them right now. So if you refresh your page, you will see that I have opened them. The sampling,
And also,
the sampling
yes,
design.
please,
I've
class.
opened the sampling design. Yeah. What?
Also for yesterday's class.
For yesterday's class, I'm going to open them immediately. I've also not ticked the register for yesterday's class. So what I'm going to look at, what will guide me in ticking the register is the assignment that I gave you. If nobody attempted the assignment, then I'll presume or I'll assume that that person was not in my class. Even if he was in my class, I'll assume that he was not in my class. So I've already opened your notes. So when you refresh, you will see I've opened survey research. No, survey research I will not open. Simply because this particular topic is not done. We are going to finish it next week. Or maybe I can open it, so you go and read on your own. Read on the advantages and the disadvantages. So I've opened survey research for you to go and read. I'm also looking at your register. So I am ticking your registers as we speak. Any other question? Maybe I can handle, I can be looking at your question as I look at your register. Do you have any question? Deborah, do you have any other question? Somebody was writing me a message whether I received his assignment. So I'm looking for Deborah.
Yes.
Yeah, I'm looking for, wait a minute.